Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Mike Gavin, and I am the chair of the IAEM Conference Committee. I'm joined by Dwayne Hagelgans, Donna Franklin, and David Barber, our vice chairs, and Julie Husk, our staff conference manager.
Welcome, everybody. This is Dwayne Hagelgans. I want to thank everybody for coming today and listening to the webinar, and hopefully you have a great presentation with us in Grand Rapids.
Hi, this is Donna Franklin. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to do this webinar for you.
Hello, everybody. David Barber here. We're glad you could join us today, and we hope that you will find it very informative.
Hello, all. This is Julie Husk. Welcome.
During this webinar, we're going to cover the submission process, the conference committee's expectations for submissions, and give a quick tutorial on the online submission portal. Our goal is to develop the best conference or the best program for our conference, and we recognize that we need the best from our speakers to make this a successful conference. That's one of the reasons we try to give you some tips so that your proposal will be accepted and help make the great conferences that we have. We'll share the recording with everyone who registered, and it'll also be posted on the IAEM conference website under the speaker pages. We welcome questions as we go through the slides. Please feel free to send your questions to us via the question box. If at the end of the webinar you wish to ask specific questions to your particular situation, I'm going to encourage you to reach out to one of us. Our contact information also will be presented on the last slide.
This is the main speaker page that you see here in front of you now. And excuse me, this is where you'll find your information. There's a tab to the left that will talk about breakout sessions for speakers. That's what's available now. Later on, there will be information in a tab for the poster showcase. That will start in March. And then EM Vision Talks, which is scheduled to start in April. That will open in April. You will see that information as it comes on the left-hand side.
All right, on the breakout speaker information page, you'll find the benefits and responsibilities of being a speaker at the IAEM annual conference. This covers topics such as registration, your final slide document review, submission deadlines, and CEM credits. The speaker submission guideline is hyperlinked in this page, and it is your key and a must read for all speakers looking to submit a successful speaker proposal. I urge you to review the guideline, and it was developed by the conference committee to provide all the requirements and tips that you will need to be a successful speaker. Many of your questions can be answered by reading this guidance. Including in the guidance are steps for navigating the online submission portal and a listing of all the required fields in the online submission form. We highly suggest before you submit your proposal online, you gather all the information needed and draft the information fields with character limits in a Word document to ensure your proposal fits within the character limitations. Many of the issues speakers have encountered when submitting their proposal is inputting information that exceeds the character limits. Please, for your own peace of mind, draft your proposal in a Word document first and verify the word count is within the limitations for the required field. When checking the word count, select character limitation numbers, including spaces, as required by the online submission form. Drafting first and verifying word count will make the submission process smoother and quicker for you.
Please note the date and the time zone on this slide. February the 19th, 11:59:59 Central Standard Time. That's our deadline for speaker submissions. We can't extend it. So please make sure that you plan accordingly. And when we say plan accordingly, we don't mean wait until an hour before this time to start to plan and work on your submission. Try to get it in early. Make sure that you have time so that you can do this in a relaxed manner and you're not rushing at the last minute to put this presentation in. Get ahead of the crowd, stand out, be early, make sure that you get everything in and that you have time to do it correctly. Put your best foot forward. We want you to make sure that you do the best possible job so that we can have the best possible conference. There's a large number of submissions and there's only so many slots that we can fill. So bring your A game, put your best effort into one high quality submission and make sure that you do the best job. If you are accepted, you will be notified by May 1st. So our breakout sessions are 60 minutes long. That includes, within that 60 minutes is time for question and answers. So make sure that you plan when you put your presentation together that time in there. Don't do a 60-minute presentation because then there won't be any time for people to ask questions. The conference presentations are going to be done on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, October 18, 19, and 20 of this year, 2021. Anyone who submits for a breakout must comply, this is really important, with the no logo feature. We understand that your organization may not agree. Just remember, however, that we would like to remind you that IAEM Annual Conference Program is a platform for professional development and earnest learning. It is not a platform for sales. All speakers will be assigned a speaker liaison who is a member of the conference committee. They will introduce you and your session with the introductions provided in your submission. Your speaker liaison will also be a timekeeper for your session and alert you if needed when time is running out. They will be a person that can help you throughout the entire process.
All right, as you see in front of you, the conference theme for the 2021 69th IAEM Annual Conference and EMEX is IAEM 2021, looking back to look ahead. The conference committee requires presentations that are specifically developed for the IAEM Annual Conference audience and for the current year's theme. When developing your submission, think of the following topic areas within the theme or suggest one of your own. Donna, can you expand on our theme some?
Hi, sure, David. Over the past year, we've witnessed unpredictable and unprecedented events that have drastically impacted the field of emergency management. What will happen in the future? How have the experiences of the past year influenced you and your approach to emergency management? Can you identify the opportunities for growth, development, change, and synergy as we move into the future world of emergency management? What do current and future generations need to know based upon their visions, beliefs, and expectations versus those of the previous generation? We've experienced many benefits as the field of emergency management becomes more diverse. We've made progress, but there's so much more to do to encourage and sustain diversity of all kinds. What do you want to see? How have you helped increase diversity and inclusion? What are the best practices? What challenges do we face as we move to increase our knowledge base, experience, and expertise to move emergency management forward so that it serves everyone? What kind of leadership do we need? The importance of partnerships, collaboration, and best practices cannot be overstated. With shrinking resources, more global interconnections, and greater challenges, we must put words into action. What have you done in this area? What are the challenges? What are some bold, outside the box ideas you want to share? And what real life experiences and best practices can you share?
Although we like to focus our presentations, as Donna mentioned, on our theme, keep in mind that we listen to feedback from our conference attendees. And a lot of times they will tell us what they like to hear and other topics that many of them have requested. Some of these may or may not fit within our theme, and that's okay. If you think you've got a hot topic and you're not sure that it fits within our theme, Keep in mind, we still would like you to submit and contact one of us. We can help guide you through the process. Some of the ideas we've heard from our past attendees at the conference are career and CEM certifications, COVID, of course, diversity, leadership, mitigation resiliency, mental health, healthcare, private sector, grants, finance, cascading complex events, training, natural disasters. The list goes on. So keep in mind, it doesn't have to always fit 100% into the conference theme. Julie?
The online speaker submission portal is linked to the IAEM database. To submit a proposal for a breakout session, you need to log into IAEM.org first. On the home page, click on your dashboard to get to the speaker submission portal. You do not need to be a member to submit a proposal. I will be logging into the online portal and walking you through step by step later in this webinar. As we mentioned earlier, the call for speakers closes on Friday, February 19th at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time, so please don't wait till last minute. As a tip, as Dwayne mentioned earlier, read the speaker guidance to see the listing of all the required information, then gather and draft your submission prior to entering information into the online portal. This will help ensure a complete and well thought out submission. There's not a save function, so it's important for you to set aside some time to allow for entry of all the information. Incomplete submissions will not be considered.
All right, I'm going to emphasize this again. It'll save you a lot of time and eliminate a lot of frustration if you gather all your required information prior to submitting your proposal. We've listed some of the main information needed on this slide. Again, this year, you don't need to have your slides submitted when you submit your presentation, your ideas. Your speakers, the contact information, the bio. Remember, as mentioned earlier by David, I believe, 1,200 characters, social media handles, past speaking presentations, some references. And so the submission information is up there in bold print. Those are the things that we're looking at. And again, keep in mind that character limitations include the spaces. Okay, all the required fields and their character limitations are listed in the speaker submission guidance. And that's why it's important to read it. I think it'll really help you. You can also log into the speaker submission portal, view all of the required information without submitting a proposal. Then when you're ready, go back and enter all the information. Keep in mind, as Julie mentioned, there is not a save function. So once you start filling out the information on the submittal, you need to complete it in its entirety.
So we've provided a guide for you to use, and we also recognize that everyone is at a different skill or comfort level with speaking. We take that into account when we do the reviews. For those of you who have never spoken on the national stage, think about reaching out to one of us as you prepare your submission. The better your submission is, the better your chance of getting selected. The last two items concern those who are accepted. As you consider putting a proposal together, know that if you're selected, a member of the conference committee will work with you to develop your session. This representative will also do a review of the slides with you to ensure it meets our standards. If you're selected, we may ask you to focus on a variation of your proposal or to collaborate with someone else if it's a popular topic. We pride ourselves on the level of personal attention and respect that we give to each speaker all the way through the end of the conference.
So we want to emphasize that new speakers are in fact welcome, and all speakers will receive support in developing their presentation. We take this very seriously for you and for our audience's benefit. The speaker submission is chock full of helpful tips and covers all the requirements for a successful submission. Remember to double check your proposal for typos before you submit. We are a professional organization, and we expect work product that is professional and a finished product.
In the selection process, applications are scored based on a complete and accurate application. This is critical, folks. Incomplete submissions will not be reviewed. All right, make sure you have a complete submission. We look at the quality of submitted presentations. Can we understand the concept of what you're trying to present and get across? We look at what your experience is and your qualifications related to the topic. In other words, if you've never spoken before and you're new in the field, that's okay, as long as you can justify you have the background to speak on the subject. We don't want somebody that works in EMS speaking on nuclear explosions. We don't want a physicist talking about fighting fire unless it has to do with the physics of fighting fire. And we look at those things very, very close. Compelling presentations, a story that's going to engage the audience. And then again, we like it to have that twist that adheres to the theme. The key here, folks, is we want it to be a win-win situation. We want you to feel good about what you've done when your presentation's over, and we want the folks in the audience to feel good about taking the hour to listen to you, which makes us have a tremendous conference.
Speakers will be provided an IAEM slide template to use for their presentation at the conference. These slide templates are what we want you to use. Your company or your product logos will be allowed on the first and last slides of your presentation only. What you're seeing there, the first and the last slide. On the first slide, you can insert the title of the presentation and your speaker names. The last slide will have your contact information and allow the audience to reach out to you after the presentation. The slide template is required to be used by all selected speakers.
Folks, we really are strict about using the slide template and only allowing speakers to insert company logos on the first and last slides. We won't allow speakers to use the IAEM annual conference as a platform to promote their company, their product, or organization. Of course, if someone in the audience today is probably wondering how the logo rule applies if the proposal is about a specific program or a unit with a specific logo, like maybe the America's Prepare-a-thon. If this is you, please make sure you talk to one of us so we can consider and advise accordingly. Julie will now take us through a live demonstration of submitting a breakout proposal.
Hello, everyone. So right now I am on the IAEM.org website. I'm logged in as myself. As we said before, when you go to IAEM.org, if you're not already logged in, just log in the top left-hand panel and it will bring you to a home screen on the IAEM website, and then go to a tab that says My Dashboard. This is my dashboard. It might have a little bit more than what yours does, but that's okay. You click down here at the bottom, it says Speaker Submission. It'll bring you to a page. Now, for those of you who may have submitted last year, this is a new page that we created because we had some admin staff that were submitting on behalf of someone else. So what we did was to create a page here. So you either will say you're submitting on behalf of yourself or you're submitting on behalf of someone else. Either way, there has to be a record in IAEM's database. So you're either going to have it already there or you will create one. I'm going to show you here for ease of doing this if I'm submitting on behalf of myself. So I'll click that here. So this says right here, I'm submitting on behalf of me, it has my name here and all the content information that's in the IAEM database. If there are required fields here by a red asterisk that aren't filled in, you will need to complete it. This is the basic information, personal information about the primary speaker themselves. At the bottom of this, you'll see some social information you can add in there. If you have a Twitter handle, or LinkedIn, or Facebook, or a website you may want people to direct people to. And then a place for your bio. Of course, this is just gobbledygook I put in here when I was testing it, but in here is your bio here you can put in. It has down here the character limit, so you don't have to go back and reference the speaker guidance, but right there it says maximum characters, including spaces, and you fill it in here. When you're done with this page, you complete it, you go to next. It pulls up the next page, which is the submission information. This is kind of the meat of your proposal. So it'll have here the interest area. So we have several interest areas where you can select in. It's kind of a main kind of theme around where your topic is. It doesn't have to be, you might fit into more than one. Just pick the main one here. Then put in your title. Again, this is character limited and it has it down below. Then your abstract. Now this abstract box, as you can see, is very small. You just take your cursor here on these little arrows, these little lines here on the right lower corner of it, and you can expand this box out. You can make it smaller again or make it bigger, and this will allow room for you to see what you're typing into the abstract box. Again, here, every field that has a lot of characters in it, it will give you the maximum character limit. Again, this is including spaces on all this. The next thing we ask for is what the audience will get from your presentation, like objectives, takeaway, lessons learned. And then we ask for your speaker intro. As one of my colleagues said earlier, this intro will be used by your liaison at the conference if you're selected, and it will introduce you and any other co-speakers as well as your session to the audience. And then we ask if you have any audiovisual needs. And if you have a video link, like let's say you did a presentation before, you want to share with us, you're more than welcome to. This is not a required field. It only would help your presentation. It's not going to hurt you if you do not have a video link to share. Then you can go to next, which next thing is pulls up any additional speakers. Now, if you have additional speakers, you're going to fill out here. If you don't, you'll skip this section. It's not a required section. However, if you do have additional speakers, we want you to put them in here. We do not want somebody to submit and say, once they're selected, oh, I have these other speakers that I'm going to bring. That's not the way we work. We want to know who all is going to be a part of your presentation. So when you're gathering your information for a submission, like we told you earlier, as far as getting all the content information, the bio, you're going to want to reach out to your co-presenters because only one person can submit a submittal in our portal. So you want to gather all the information from them and have it ready to go. If you do need to add a speaker, I'm going to show you how to do it. You click this little box that says add additional speaker. It pulls up another box. There's two ways to do this. One is you can query. Hit the magnifying glass, and it will pull up how you can search through the IAEM database. And that doesn't just mean IAEM members. That means anybody that's ever been to a conference, filled out a certification form, or done anything that they would have logged into IAEM for some reason. You can search by their last name, their email, their organization, and then you just click search for speaker. I'm going to test one out here and you'll see what I mean. Once you search here, you post up somebody here. This is my coworker's Michelle. Maybe some of you have met her before. You click on that, and that will pull up Michelle's information. Now, sometimes, as you can see with Michelle, there are information that's missing. The bio, for instance, her past experience and speaker reference. You're going to need to get that from your co-speakers when you submit. So once you do that, you add the additional speaker and move on. If you have another one, you can add more and do the same thing all over again. If you don't find anybody in the IAEM database, the person your co-speaker is not there, you click the plus sign, and that will have you create a new record in IAEM. So you're going to need all that same content information that you need for yourself. Again, this is all listed in the speaker guidance. It has every field that we are asking in this submission form. You also, as we mentioned earlier, can log in, take a look at this form, and go through all these pages without submitting. Unlike some online forms where it takes you to one page and you got to complete it, and then it goes, you got to click next and it takes you to a whole new page, and then you can't go back to the previous information. That's not the way this works. Ours is all here. You can look at it all and not worry about submitting anything and just move on. So once you get your additional speakers in, you have a page called additional details. Here it asks for all your speaker references. So again, where did you speak? What date was it? How many people were there? What was the title? And so forth. We asked for 2 of those. And then it also asks for your speaker references. Here, We want the name, phone number, and email. Preferably somebody from IAEM so we can reach out to that person. If you don't know anybody from IAEM that could be a reference, that's okay. Just put down your references so we can reach out to them and contact them if needed. The last thing is our speaker agreement, which is just basically things that we ask for that you agree to when you are a speaker for IAEM. And you just click agree all throughout here. Once you are done, this little bottom button down here says preview. You're going to want to preview your submission to submit. So you'll preview, and you can see here, this box pops up. A lot of things turn red because I did not fill out my form all the way. And it tells you exactly what areas and what sections you're missing. Like right here on the submission information page, I didn't put in a title. Oops. So I have to go back to that section and actually put in all these little areas, and it gives you the title, the pages, and the headers for each section. Once you are done, you got to hit preview submission again. When you have completely filled out all the fields, instead of preview submission, it'll be submit your proposal, and you click on that. When you do, you'll get a confirmation page that'll pop up on here, as well as an email that will come to your inbox. And that's how you submit. I think it's pretty easy, and it's pretty clear. If you have any questions at all throughout this whole process, please feel free to reach out to any of us, as we will talk about that earlier. So let me back out of here and go where we were before.
All right, thank you, Julie, Donna, David, and Dwayne. Now we'd like to address any questions that you may have. Remember, if you want to discuss specifics about your individual proposal, please reach out to one or all of us, copying in Julie. This webinar has been recorded and will be sent to all of you who have registered. It'll also be posted on the conference website once available. Julie, if you want to go ahead and cover any questions maybe that came up.
Sure. What are the options of speaker formats? For example, solo presentation, fireside chat, panel, etc.
Donna, you want to handle that one?
Sure. We have solo presentations. We have people with a panel, or as is the case a lot of times with the National Weather Service presenters, is that they will have two who will present separate presentations, but in a 1 hour block, or will oftentimes they will partner with their emergency manager partner and present something on preparedness or specific event or best practices. We haven't, as far as I know, had anyone submit anything for a fireside type of chat, but you know, you're not required to do a PowerPoint if that's what you're asking. We're really flexible. So, you know, give us a call and let us know what you have in mind, and we can help you out.
Can you submit multiple submissions?
David?
You can, and we have had people submit multiple submissions in the past. I would say that while that's certainly within the realm of possibility, one of the things that we would like to say about that is sometimes it's better to put all your effort into one topic and make it your best effort, as opposed to putting too many different things together and having not your energy divided. Let me just say it that way. If you have a lot of ideas and you can put a ton of energy and put an A game into more than one proposal, we certainly are not going to tell you not to do that. I just find that in this world of today, when everybody is so busy, just wonder if you can bring your A game more than once doing multiple submissions, but there's no rule against that at all.
Please also keep in mind that if you do submit several presentations, we will only select one if you are chosen, there will only be one presentation that you would be allowed to give. And so sometimes that may create a little bit of a concern, especially if you're using maybe multiple speakers in your presentations. We don't want to leave somebody out, but unfortunately, we can only have speakers do one presentation at our conference.
I just want to add to that, over the years, I'm going to echo what David said, is that a lot of times we see people submit like 5, 6, even more sometimes presentations, because they have all these canned ones. They just go ahead and boom, they just hit it, or they have somebody do it for them. And what we find is that a lot of people, they aren't revising them, they're dated, they aren't making them tailored to what's happening right now. And like David said, they aren't bringing their A game into one submission. So really think hard and long about that one, and really try to make a good presentation and submit it. You're increasing your chances of being selected by putting some time and effort into creating one good presentation, and then instead of trying to just hit us with like 5. So now for the question, I've got a few of these in here, so I'm just going to add it and sum it into one. With COVID-19 continuing into 2021, will there be an opportunity to present at Grand Rapids conference virtually rather than in person?
I'll take a stab at that one, and then I'm going to have Julie follow up with it. Currently, we are planning on doing a face-to-face conference in October in Grand Rapids. We will probably not know, due to medical surveillance and other issues out there relative to COVID. The IAEM Board of Directors, working with the folks in Grand Rapids, probably will not be making or even know if anything's going to change until later into the summer. So our goal right now, with everything that we are aware of, we're planning on doing a face-to-face and have really not even addressed or considering addressing at this time virtual components of that. That being said, that could change, but right now we're moving in the direction of 100% face-to-face conference. Julie, you have any follow-up on that from staff?
I would echo what you said. We at this point are planning for an in-person. We're hoping, as Mike said, that things will change and we will be in person. As far as a virtual component at all, that topic is being tossed around a little bit. And at this point in time, I cannot confirm either way whether that'll be an option or not. And likely, as those of you who have attended past conferences, ideally, the way this best functions for everyone concerned, speakers and networking, is to have that face-to-face contact. So that being said, we are planning, as Mike said, for the in-person event only, and we will adjust accordingly if we need to. A question is, can we submit for a keynote and a breakout?
Who wants to take a stab at that one?
Mike,
Okay.
I
Go ahead, David.
Well, I think the same thing that we just said about multiple submissions. I think that you need to make a decision about where you want to put your effort and bring your A game to one point. If you think that you want to try a keynote, then put your effort and energy there and make that be your guiding, determining factor. If you want to be a breakout, then go there. But make a decision and make sure that you're doing there. Like Mike said, you're only going to have one chance to speak at the conference. You're not going to be doing one and the other. It's one or the other. So again, decide where you think you could be the most effective, where you could best tell your story to the IAEM audience, and then put all your energy and effort into that and go in that direction. That would be my advice.
Yeah, what I can tell you is this process that we're talking about today is definitely for breakout speakers. Our EM Vision speakers, our plenary, our partner speakers are all handled through a different process. And so my recommendation to you is if you're looking for a breakout, please submit keynote and you know, our other speakers, government representatives, you know, the head of DHS, FEMA, National Weather Service, those are all selected through a whole different process within IAEM.
I have a 2-point question here in the back-to-back, actually the same thing. Would you be who would be an appropriate person to write down for a reference? And if your speaker reference is from other international or domestic conferences other than IAM, is that okay, as they are the chairs that can speak to the quality of our past presentations?
Two things we're looking there for in references, to be honest with you. One is if we need to validate or we have any questions about your background or experience. In other words, I'll go back to if you're going to talk about EMS, do you have an EMS background? If there's a question about it, can somebody that you list as a reference validate that? The other thing would be if you put down that, you know, you're an international speaker and you've spoke at 25 international conferences around the United States or around the world, you know, and somebody questions that, do you have a reference that can say, oh yes, I know this person, they've been on this speaker tour and they've done this and done that. That's really what we're looking for. We don't question everybody that submits. We really look at your experience, your background. I mean, there's a lot of ways we can do background checks on different folks. Folks in the conference committee, you know, through Facebook, LinkedIn. It's, you know, even if you're a member of IAM, it says who you work for. So a lot of that stuff is self-evident. But really what we're looking at with references is somebody, if questioned, that can validate your expertise in that area and or your speaking experiences. Hopefully that answers your question.
What happens if we submit and are accepted, but later cannot attend the conference? Will we be able to resubmit next year, or will it count against us?
Julie, why don't you take that one?
Well, that's an easy one. I'll take it easy. Yes, if you submit and are not accepted and cannot attend the conference, no problem. We tend to accumulate alternates that we have that are ready to be more than happy to fill your shoes if you cannot attend for any reason at all, whether it's COVID or health or new job or whatever. That's perfectly fine. It does not count against you. We don't look badly on you that you did it. Things happen, life happens. We all get it. We've all been there. Not a problem. And yes, you definitely can resubmit again the following year. Can we submit across different areas of speaking? For example, breakout, EM Vision, poster showcase, etc.
Dwayne, you want to take that one?
Sure, absolutely. You can, well, the EM Vision, I'll let Donna address that, but from the poster showcase and the individual session speakers, you can absolutely do both of those, especially if they're different subject matters. Obviously, you know, you might present for a session and we look at it and we might not have a session opening, but we have openings in the poster showcase. We might actually even refer you to the poster showcase for that presentations. But yeah, you can absolutely do it. Donna, you want to address the EM Vision?
Sure, I'd be happy to. The EM Vision talks are unique. They are 7 minutes in length, and they are something that you're passionate about, something that you've learned when you've had an aha moment. So they're personal. So you definitely can submit submissions for a breakout session and an EM Vision talk, but they would probably be very different subjects. One is an hour long, one is 7 minutes long. We have in the past have had people submit for EM Vision, which was really a 1 hour breakout cut down to 7 minutes, and that doesn't work. So as long as you have something you're passionate about that takes 7 minutes to share, you are welcome to submit for an EM Vision talk.
Yeah, keep in mind that again, what I said earlier, we want to allow as many opportunities for as many different people to come to the conference and present. And that's one of the reasons we try to keep folks from being involved in two or three different breakout sessions. Poster showcase is something totally different. I don't think we've ever had anyone that actually has done a breakout and an EM Vision, although we have had people that 1 year they did an EM Vision and the next year they came back and expanded and did a breakout, or vice versa. They did a breakout 1 year and came back and did a EM Vision on a totally different subject, as Donna said, that they were very, very passionate about.
Our next question, how many proposals have historically been submitted versus the number of speaking spots?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Whoever asked that, thanks for asking it. We were just talking about that before the webinar today, and normally, and I'm saying normally on the average, we have about 80 breakout sessions Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday between those 3 days. And a lot of that is driven by the size of the conference center, the number of breakout rooms that they actually have available to us. I can throw out some numbers. I can remember 1 year, I think we had 400. 1 year we had 300 and some. Julie, can you remember the numbers better than me?
You're spot on. It's about an average of 300 submissions every year.
That's one of the things that makes it real tough for the conference committee. And keep in mind, there's 30, 40 people on the conference committee that we all have a role in speaker selection. And that's one of the reasons David has stressed so much, take your time, focus, read the speaker guidance, bring your A game. If you have questions, please get a hold of us. We're not going to say we're going to mentor you and make your presentation perfect, but boy, we can sure give you some tips on what seems to work and what doesn't, because our goal is to get you up on the stage speaking at our conference and make our conference one of the best in the United States. So we're more than willing to help you with that, because it is tough when you only pick 80 out of 300. And that's why we say give it your A game. We really want this to be a win-win for everyone.
Next question, if we're interested in submitting a case study presentation, should the company that's using the EM vendor submit the talk versus the vendor?
That's a good question, and I'll take a stab at it. And then Julie, if there's anything I missed, please follow up. I would prefer that we usually don't have vendors per se do a presentation. There in the EMEX, there's an area where vendors can get up, being the vendor, company X, and do a presentation representing company X. What I have told folks in the past, if you work for a vendor and you want to do a presentation, list it under your name. We'll know who you work for, that's fine. But what we try to tell folks is if you want to talk about a technology that maybe that vendor is involved in and the importance of that technology, that's okay. There's not a problem with that. What we don't want is you getting up talking about that vendor, and that technology that vendor has. In other words, as an example, and this is a great one, emergency mass notification. If a vendor from one of the mass notification companies out there wants to do a presentation on the importance of mass notification and how it saves lives, that's great, not a problem. And then at the end of the presentation, that vendor can have their logo on that last slide, as was mentioned, and even say, hey folks, if you want more information, we're over in the EMEX, come see us, because they're not selling their product. What they're doing is they're selling a technology that is critical and important to saving lives. Julie, comments on that?
I would agree with everything you said there. The only thing I would add that if you are an organization that wants to get involved in some sort of vendor presentation, I would suggest you contact my coworker, Kate McClymans. She handles all of our sponsorships, and she'd be more than happy to discuss how you could sponsor the conference and discuss how you can get your message out there. Going on as far as that topic is, we have a kind of tie on to that one. If we have partnerships with major organizations like NOAA, should NOAA submit the application versus a vendor?
Donna?
I think it's the same situation. If NOAA is using a specific product and they can talk about, and they're talking about a certain case or an event or whatever, it should focus on the event. And I think what Julie said about being able to get noticed and get your name out there and be able to show your products, the best way to do that is to sponsor, to be some sponsor of some element in the conference or at the exhibit booth. But if so, it really depends. I mean, just remember that it is about the conference is focused on professional development and learning and sharing best practices, and so that's what the breakout sessions should focus on.
I would just add to what we've all kind of said here. If you have questions about this, as we said throughout, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to tell you, no, that violates our policy, or yes, that's okay. You'll be okay to submit, because as everyone has said here, we don't want sales in the breakout. Our attendees don't want sales in the breakouts. So if you have any concerns, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, IAEM is an organization at our conference. When we have vendors that sponsor things or want to get involved, we try to make opportunities for them. And there are some opportunities, you know, for vendors at the IAEM conference. So again, as Julie mentioned, if that's the direction, get a hold of one of us, and we can surely put you in touch to make that be a win-win also, because vendors do help support our conference. There's no joke about that.
I think we've hit all the questions here. I'm just going to add one thing here before Mike winds up. As we said earlier, this webinar is being recorded and will be sent out to all of you that have registered and attended the webinar. As well, it will be posted on the speaker pages and also be sent out on lots of e-blasts that will be promoting the call for speakers. So you'll be able to get access to what we discussed today.
Thank you, Julie. But before we wrap up, I'd like to thank Donna, David, Dwayne, and Julie for helping with this. And again, folks, read the speaker guidance. If you come up with questions, please don't hesitate to get a hold of one of us or even all of us. We've had people in the past send an email to me and saying, Mike, I'm thinking about doing this and that, but I'm not sure it's spot on. And I've said, good gosh, here, go this direction. I think this is great. And come to find out, man, their breakout session was packed. So again, if you have any doubt, we'll gladly work with you. Oh, I've been conference chair for 4 years. This is going on my 5th, and it's been exciting. I am happy to help anybody at any given time to get them where they want to be as far as presenting at our conference. And I'm sure Donna, David, Dwayne, and Julie all feel the exact same way. So with closing, you can see there's our contact information. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, please take a screenshot of that. You can always go to the IAEM website and go to the conference committee, and you will see us there also with our contact information. So with that, if there's no further questions, I would like to thank you all for your time today, and I look forward to seeing each and every one of you doing a presentation at the IAEM 69th Annual Conference in Grand Rapids, October 15th through the 22nd of this year. Thank you very much. Stay safe out there and have a good day.